For me, I have kind of three adjectives that I care about most that I put in front of revenue. Committed, recurring, high margin.
Hello and welcome to the Forecast. I'm Molly St. Louis, and today we're going to check in on your revenue health. See, more revenue doesn't always equal healthy revenue, as Rev CRO Wade Burgess will tell you. You want your revenue to strengthen your business like a well-balanced meal would nourish your body, and not like those empty calories that some of us have been consuming during the quarantine. This is true at all times, but especially now, and here's why. When the quarantine became a very real thing, forecasts changed dramatically. Budget freezes and reluctant customers caused a level of panic, and some leaders worried about having a knee-jerk reaction that would cause them to close any deal, whether or not it was good for business in the long run. Again, not all revenue is healthy revenue, and it's easy to forget that during a downturned economy. This is why it is so important that we have a clear picture of our ideal customer profile, the ability to zero in on that segment, and focus our sales capacity on the activities with the highest yield. And Wade Burgess is going to show us all how it's done. Wade, thank you so much for joining us on the Forecast.
Thanks for having me.
Every sales leader is trying to figure out how to focus their capacity on the right segments of the market, particularly during these difficult times. So how do you determine where to focus your revenue team for the healthiest revenue?
For me, I have kind of three adjectives that I care about most that I put in front of revenue. Committed, recurring, high margin.
Let's break those down for a second. Why are you so focused on committed revenue?
Committed revenue is worth more than revenue that may happen. So if you have a contractual relationship with someone over a window of time, that's worth more than if you are waiting to see what they're going to spend. So typically, depending on the controls you have around pricing, long-term commitment is usually worth more than short-term commitment.
And when that committed revenue is also recurring, it's even better, right?
This is, again, I'm bringing a pretty strong bias from a SaaS perspective, software as a service. So this is be different for different kinds of businesses, but for technology, for SaaS, for cloud businesses, creating a recurring revenue stream is really important because that has a potential for a compounding effect. But I'd much rather have a customer that continues to buy over and over and over again. If you use monthly segments or quarterly segments, that it's an ongoing recurring revenue versus a one-time revenue.
We've got committed, recurring, and your last one is the kicker.
That's my favorite, high margin. So, it's much more interesting to have a high margin business than a low margin business. That might sound simple, but sometimes people chase top line dollars and they go, this is so great. I can't wait to have a business that does $1 billion in business a year. Well, that's interesting. But if your expenses are $1.2 billion, you've just lost money.
Let's take a second and get some quick stats from our Clari expert about that.
Hi, Molly. Hi, Wade. Recently, revenue leaders were forced to get creative with their pipeline as they reacted quickly to massive market changes and more slipped deals than they've ever seen. Increased scrutiny and frozen budgets forced their go-to-market teams to reevaluate and completely reconsider targets. What we've noticed is that revenue teams that were more creative and agile had a better chance to make up for lost ground for all those slipped deals they were seeing. And according to our data, Clari customers reoriented their teams and pulled in 82% more out-quarter business than usual. And they also opened and closed 25% more in-quarter business than they have in past quarters, which are really high numbers. So there may be a lot of uncertainty out in the market, but one thing is clear, organizations and their CROs have to become more creative, have to get more creative if they hope to come out on top.
Thanks for that context, my friend. So Wade, your 3 pillars of healthy revenue probably really inform your ideal customer profile. How do you define what your ideal customer profile is?
It's a great question and not theoretical. I'm on day 30 right now with Rev. So it's exactly what I'm going through right now. So I think about if you were to map it out on a graph, you'd have like a vertical axis that I call the size of prize. But what is the opportunity within this subset so let's call it industries, for example. Is it legal? Is it, media and entertainment? Is it, are we going to after any industry you can capture out there? So you put those, graph those on a map as far as what's the opportunity size, what's the addressable market within each one of these categories. It's a long list. And then the other axis is what I call ability to win. In other words, the likelihood we can be successful in this category. And so you have to think about what's the size of prize, and the other axis is ability to win, which also includes how are we as a company uniquely positioned against anyone else in the world, where we're very likely to win in this category if we go after it. So when you say, okay, who's our ideal customer profile, it is those who are in a category that it is really worth pursuing, and our likelihood of success there is good.
Being a CRO yourself and knowing that CRO jobs are on the rise in SaaS, maybe even beyond, what is your forecast for the future of CROs?
And specifically just talking about sales, marketing, and customer success, when you think about those as one thing, there's certainly different disciplines within them, but you don't have to have the overlapping and the friction. Every salesperson out there will tell you that they need more leads and they need better leads, and it's marketing's fault that they're not hitting their quota. And if the marketing person out there will tell you, like, we are flooding this team with leads and they're just dropping the ball and they're not handling them well. And customer success would say, both of those organizations send really bad stream problems to us. And this is like, we feel like my door should say, remember where it goes when you flush on it. You know, like there's these channels that are really problematic for each one. And I think the CRO role is one about bringing that all together in one thing to make sure that there's like a beautiful customer experience and it's, you know, committed, high margin, recurring revenue.
And that's our show, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. But until we do, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay connected.